Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the greatest betting show on YouTube. The rules of this show are simple. Me and Matt both get $1,000 each to put on single game bets. Now, we can divide that $1,000 between however many games that we want, but the goal is obviously to make as much money as possible. Now, each of us get one free $50 parlay so that Matt can financially recover after losing all of his money on the 49ers. Matt, thank you for joining the show. And before we get started, what do you have to say?
I'm just going to say I look forward to absolutely demolishing you in this. I think that, once we come around week 14 or 16, the goal of this is to make some money. I think we're going to be looking at Mike in the deficits over 5,000. I've already seen his week one bets. Some very questionable calls there. I'm playing it safe week one. I think week one is tough. So if we suck this week, honestly, I don't even recommend betting week one. I think from here on out, you kind of learn a little bit about the teams and stuff, but week one is like the most up and down week. So, sometimes we're going to have absolutely god-awful takes, and then sometimes we're going to hit you with that banger parlay of the week, which I personally think I have this week.
Yeah, and Matt said that week one is tough. And that's just because he doesn't know ball. Obviously, we all know this. But if you guys want to check out and keep track of our bets, I will have in the description of this video a link to a Google Sheets document where we put all of our bets throughout the year so that you guys can see going back weeks and weeks what bets we made. Starting off, Matt, with the Thursday night football game. By the way, we're recording this on Wednesday morning, so at the current moment, we are still a little bit in the dark about if Travis Kelce is going to play or not for the Chiefs. So at this point, we're going to lean no. Would you agree with that? Lean no that Travis Kelce's probably not going to play.
Honestly, I think it's like 50-50. I don't think we can really
Yeah,
tell.
I do think that they could be a little cautious. He's 34. It's week one. I think they could be a little cautious. Right now, the Chiefs are favored by 4.5, and the over-under is 53.5. My first bet of the week, in which I'm going to put my first $200 on, I'm going to take the Lions to cover plus 4.5. $200 would win me $381. Here's the thing. The Lions are coming off a lot of momentum from last season. I think they made a lot of improvements in this offseason, and I think that they are set to be a playoff team in 2023. Now they're going into Arrowhead for week one of the NFL season. Everybody knows the Chiefs are good. I don't need to say that. But what the Chiefs are right now is they are depleted. Assuming they don't play with Travis Kelce, they're going to be missing two of their top three players. Their receiving room is bad. Let's just call it what it is. Their running backs are not great, and their defense without Chris Jones is bad. I don't think the Lions win this game. I think that Mahomes kind of pulls something out of his ass late in the game to get the Chiefs the win, but I do think they cover at plus 4.5. I'm putting $200 on that.
Honestly, I don't think this is a bad bet, Mike. I mean, I feel like I've seen a lot of people taking the Lions to win. I don't agree with that. Their defense was abysmal last year, and they did improve. The secondary got better. But we're still talking about a Lions team that's led by Jared Goff, who people now think is just some amazing quarterback, even though a year ago they were like, oh, yeah, he's like the 25th best quarterback in the league. No, Jared Goff is who he's been his whole career. He's an average quarterback. He has a good cast around him. It's going to be exciting to see Jahmyr Gibbs. Fortunately, probably not going to get Travis Kelce, but I think you're right where like your head's at with this one. Mahomes is probably going to pull the game out late. And I think the Lions covering is probably the safe bet in this one. I've seen a lot of people taking the Lions to win. I would not bet against Patrick Mahomes against like a team that I frankly think is overrated in the line. I still think the Chiefs offense is going to put up points even if there's no Travis Kelce. I think you're right. I think the biggest loss though, honestly, just for this specific game is no Chris Jones because the Lions can run the football over the Chiefs. And that will probably be why you cover. And if the Lions have a recipe to win, that's why they will end up winning this one.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard you actually agree with one of my takes before, so that's how I know I'm right for this one. So appreciate that, Matt. Moving on to a take that I really don't think you're going to agree with. Talking about the 49ers at the Steelers. The 49ers are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 41. Listen, I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to take the Steelers money line. I'm going to put another $200 on it, and it's going to win me $428 when Kenny Pickett and the Steelers beat Brock Purdy and the Niners week one. Why do I think the Steelers are going to beat the 49ers? Let's take a look at it like this. First of all, from just a road game perspective, the 49ers are traveling from Santa Clara all the way to Pittsburgh. It's a long trip, right? Week one, the 49ers will, I would say, very likely be without Nick Bosa, who has yet to sign his extension because the 49ers don't want to pay the man, and I don't blame him for sitting out. Nick Bosa. You're going all the way across country to Pittsburgh. You got to play the Steelers, who are a much improved team. The offense is going to be able to put up some points. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be explosive, but what the Steelers have, the 49ers don't, and that is their dominant edge rusher. TJ Watt, I think, is going to ruin the game for the 49ers. I do not know that if their right tackle is going to be able to block TJ Watt at all. And I think the Steelers defense is going to take control of this one. Not that I'm putting money on it, but I might even consider the under if you're a guy like that. I'm going to take the Steelers to win. I think their offense does enough, and I think their defense is dominant. I'm going to win $428 after that. And Matt, I could tell you probably disagree with me.
Yeah, I disagree with you, but I don't think it would be like shocking if the Steelers pulled off the upset. I think defensively, I think the Niners are going to be fine. Like, even though they don't have Bosa, the Steelers' offense was not good last year. Now, they made improvements. Kenny Pickett's going to a second year. I do expect to see some improvement from him. We've seen George Pickens highlights a bunch. Pickens will probably have a couple nice snags and stuff. He's going to have a couple plays.
He's going to moss 4'8" Hufanga in the end zone for a tutty. I guarantee it.
But here's the thing. Like, the Steelers are going to try to run the football. The Niners are one of the best rushing defenses. They always are. They've been like that for quite some time. So if they struggle to run the football, it's going to be tough. I think the Niners offensive line is going to have trouble with the Steelers D-line, but area to circle in this one. And I think this is where people are kind of like, because a lot of people are taking the Steelers. And I'm not against it. I'm just saying stay away from this one. It's a toss-up. The Steelers' linebacking core is not good. Like, they have an amazing defense. Their linebacking core is not good. The Niners, Kyle Shanahan, his bread and butter is carving up bad linebacker cores. So if the Niners are going to end up pulling ahead, it's going to be because of that. It's going to be because you have Debo Kittle across the middle. You have running backs getting to this, Christian McCaffrey getting to the second level. So I think that's like the biggest advantage in this one. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be an ugly week one game, and I think it's really just a toss-up. That's why I'm staying away from it. I don't think it's an awful bet, but like, I would not touch this one.
Yeah, I think the one wild card for me here is Brock Purdy, both in how he plays this year and how his elbow's looking. So that to me is one where I'm kind of tossed up on it. But I will take the Steelers to beat your poverty 49ers.
For my first bet, I'm going to be putting $100 of my total of $1,000 on to the Buccaneers +6. Now, I'll be honest, this is the bet I like least. I had all the favorites going into it. I have a lock of the week. I have everything like this. This is more of just like this is a little side bet.
A little sprinkle?
Yeah. So the reason I'm betting this is because the Vikings basically played every single game was a close game. I still think the Vikings are going to win this one. I don't think the Bucs are that great, but I do think the Bucs are getting a little bit underappreciated. I think they're going to stay around in games. I think they're going to be okay. I don't think they're going to go 500. I think they'll be below 500, but I think they'll be a little bit better than most people think. The Vikings defense is god awful. So they're going to have a tough time getting touchdown plus wins. Like, they're going to over 6 points, 7-point win for the Vikings. Their defense is going to give up a lot of points. Their defense is bad, guys. Like, it is atrocious. Go look at the depth chart and tell me, oh, yeah, this is really rough. Look at the secondary. So they could go up by a couple scores. All of a sudden, Mike Evans, Moss is some corner that you've never heard his name before. Yeah. And then Godwin gets a bunch of stuff underneath, and you're like, okay, the Buccaneers come back and they hit the backdoor spread. So I kind of like it on that. Not my favorite bet, but if I'm gonna pick an underdog this week or a team to cover, I'm picking the Bucs.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with your assessment that the Vikings defense is terrible. I do think, though, it is never probably – it's like I think betting on Baker Mayfield is like investing in crypto. It's just really risky, and there's not a whole lot like that you can get excited about. But, yeah, I probably won't – I wouldn't put money on it, but I probably don't disagree that I think 6 is a high line and that the Vikings defense is just disgustingly awful.
For the next game, the Eagles at the New England Patriots. The Eagles are -4 right now, and I'll be honest, I think this is the lock of the week. The Eagles are such a better roster than the Patriots that the fact that this line is -4 is unbelievable. And not trying to discount Bill Belichick, I've seen a lot of people act like he's not that great of a coach lately, which is absolutely insane. But this is week 1. They don't have a lot of film. We know what the Patriots' identity and offense is. It's to run the football. And I think maybe some people are thinking, oh, the Eagles' run defense wasn't that great. Guys, the Eagles just added Jalen Carter, and they have one of the nastiest D-lines in the game. They're going to be fine. Their run defense is going to be improved. Last season, they battled injuries. That's why their overall run defense wasn't that great. I think this is a huge win for the Eagles, and the line is basically making it seem like Jalen Hurts isn't playing. What is this? -4 for a team that was in the Super Bowl that steamrolled everyone against one of probably a bottom 10 roster in the league. The Patriots roster is ugly. Yep. They win games because they have Bill Belichick. Their defense is good. Matthew Judon's been a superstar, but their offense has been bad. I expect the Patriots to basically be able to like struggle to move the football in this one. And I think the Eagles are going to absolutely hound them. So lock of the week, book it. If you're going to bet on anything this week, bet on Eagles -4. Throw the Eagles in an easy parlay just to win the game, like outright. It's like -190 or something absurd. So I'm going to be putting 400 of my 1,000 on that. So 40%. So I'm going heavy on this one. This is my biggest bet of the week.
No, actually, and I'm surprised to say this, but I actually agree with you as well. The only reason that the Patriots could like take over a game would be their defense, specifically Matthew Judon, and the Eagles just so happen to have like the best right tackle in the NFL. Lane Johnson is going to just neutralize him. It's not going to be a factor. Eagles, I agree, are going to -4. It's a good line because it's week 1 and the lines are a little more generous sometimes, and you can take advantage of some stuff. The Eagles being -4 is really ridiculous. I agree with you. Next game, and this is a game that I feel very confident in. I'm going to take the Jaguars at the Colts. The Jaguars are favored by 5 points. The over-under is set at 45, and I'm taking the Jaguars -5. Here's the reason I'm taking the Jaguars -5. If you look at the second half of the year last year, the Jaguars were a completely different team. Trevor Lawrence clicked. Doug Peterson was clicking. The defense was making plays. They won a playoff game, and then they got better in this offseason. I understand the addition of Calvin Ridley, happened last year, but he hasn't played yet. He's going to play this year. They got Anton Harrison. They are a much better team with another offseason with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, and they're going against a Colts team who will be without Jonathan Taylor. Will be starting rookie Anthony Richardson, who is, I think, by far the rawest quarterback that is going to start week 1. And a Colts team that was very bad last year. I don't see a lot of hope for the Colts, unfortunately. I think the Jaguars -5 is a really, really solid bet. I'm going to put $100 on it, and it's going to win me $189 when it cashes out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna double that. I'm gonna put 200 on the same bet. This is the one bet that this is the one bet that we're going to be agreeing with this week, or that we're going to be both betting on. And I think Jaguars -5 is pretty low. Now, I think the Jaguars are getting pretty hyped up. Calvin Ridley, obviously immense hype this offseason, but their defense is improving. Their defense looked pretty good last year. Like you said, they played really well in the second half. But the biggest thing is like, this is a playoff team playing against a team that is probably going to be a bottom 5 team in the NFL. Like, they're in a rebuild. They have Anthony Richardson first game starting. No Jonathan Taylor. This offense isn't going to be good. Like, their defense, their secondary is not good. So you look around and you go, this is a huge advantage for the Jags. So I think that we're both spot on this one. Like, that's a good bet to take.
I know for one that I want to talk about, and this one is personal, and it is. I understand. I want to talk about the Packers coming into Chicago week 1 against the Bears. Now, you might look at me, and you might know that I'm from Illinois, and you might see that Justin Fields jersey on my wall back there, and you might think that I'm taking the Bears. I'm not. I'm taking the Packers a money line. The Bears are actually favored in this game by 1. It's basically a 50-50. Like, when you're favored by 1 point, the betting odds, they're kind of whatever. I'm taking the Packers money line. I'm putting $100 on it, and I'm going to win 195 when, unfortunately, Green Bay continues their dominance against Chicago. I understand no more Aaron Rodgers, and I do think the games will be close, a lot closer than it normally is, but I can't get the taste of Green Bay out of my mouth. I think that they've beaten the Bears for too long. They've dominated the Bears for too long, and getting over that hump will not happen yet. The goal of this show is not to make me happy. It's to make money, and making money is betting on the Packers to beat the Bears.
I'll be honest. I think your logic is pretty stupid right there, because you're talking about all this stuff. Oh, the Packers keep beating the Bears. Dude, the Packers had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre your whole life. So yeah, you're talking about this. We have so many unknowns. I would not touch this game. Dude, Justin Fields' new look offense. Okay, let's see how that looks. Let's see how explosive it is. Their defense had a lot of changes too. Linebacking core completely different. Just overall much different defense. On the Packers side, we don't know what Jordan Love is going to look like. So he could go out there and it could be so bad, or he could go out there and he could look pretty good and the Packers are pretty solid and they're like, borderline 500, borderline playoff team, something like that. We have no idea. So I have no idea. I have no clue why you're betting this one. Both of these teams scream, let's watch them a week or two before you want to put any money on them. I would not touch this game. We just don't know, Mike. We don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but I'm telling you, bro, I just feel it in my bones. And I know that's not great betting advice, is when you just say, like, yeah, I feel it in my bones. But I don't know, man. I feel it. I can't ignore it.
For my second to last bet, I'm going to be putting $100 on the Falcons -3.5 against the Carolina Panthers. Now, I think a lot of people are going to look at this one and be like, this is kind of a game I'd want to stay away from. But here's the thing. No Brian Burns. Bryce Young's in his first game. The Panthers' offensive personnel is ugly. And the Falcons are going to be good. They're going to run the ball all over the Panthers. Bijan's there. They have a good run game. They were the third best rushing team in the NFL last year. 3.5 points it feels like kind of a lot. So maybe if you wanted to put this in something else or just bet the money line, that's probably a safer route. But when you dictate a game at the line of scrimmage, because they're going to do it both on the offense and the defensive side of the ball, that usually wins you games. And it usually wins you games comfortably. So I'm expecting the Falcons to win this one pretty comfortably. I expect Bijan to have a stupid performance. And I think we're going to see Bryce Young's going to probably be a pretty damn good quarterback in the NFL, but we're going to look at it and be like, it still doesn't really make sense why the Panthers traded up for where they are in their timeline. They're not going to be that good. They don't have a pick. I still don't understand what the Panthers' logic was besides to sell tickets.
All right, for my next bet, I'm going to take the Rams at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are currently favored by 5.5 points. It was a little bit lower earlier in the week, but it's leaning towards Cooper Kupp not being available week 1. Also, another positive development for the Seahawks. It looks like Devin Witherspoon has a better chance to play than he did earlier in the week. I'm not going to bank on it, but I'm still going to take the Seahawks to go minus 5.5 this week. I'm going to put $300 on it. I'm putting a lot of stake in my boys to win $572. Why do I think this? Because last year, the Seahawks were a good team. They were a playoff team, and they were a good team, and I think they got much better in this offseason. Now, the Rams last year were a bad team, and I think they got worse. They lost Jalen Ramsey for at least the temporary time period. They have lost Cooper Kupp. I think Matthew Stafford is probably not the same guy he was a few years ago. Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald, but if you look at that defense outside of Aaron Donald, it's probably the worst unit in the NFL. So I think the Seahawks winning by a touchdown, less than a touchdown, I think is good. 6 points. I think they win by that. I think it's pretty comfortable that the Seahawks will hopefully take control of this game. And the Seahawks need to beat you need to beat up on bad teams. If you're gonna cement yourself as a playoff team, you got to beat up on bad teams. I'm gonna take the Seahawks minus 5.5 for $300.
I really wish Cooper Kupp was playing because I would have taken the Rams in this one. Unfortunately, he's not, so that kind of doesn't work. For the Rams all season long, it's going to be, are the big three for them playing? They're not? Okay, probably stay away from it. But I think the Rams offense is going to be a very good unit this year. They were bad last year, but it's like people don't remember that Cooper Kupp got hurt, that their offensive line wasn't as good, that Matthew Stafford was hurt, and they couldn't run the football, and there's all these issues. Their offensive line got a little bit better. Cam Akers looked good last year. He didn't play to start the season. And they're going to run the football well. Now, the big question is, in this one, in my opinion, this is what I'm going to be watching the most. How much better is the Seahawks run defense? Obviously, you get Bobby Wagner back. If their run defense is not good, the Rams are still going to give them fits in this one because the Rams are going to be shootout every single week with Aaron Donald making plays late in games. I think the Rams are going to be a sneaky team to be like around 500, maybe compete for a back-end wild card spot. The problem is, here's the issue. Cooper Kupp is already hurt. If Cooper Kupp is hurt, throw that out the window. That's the issue. So I don't think their defense is going to be good. I think the Seahawks offense is going to put up some, they're going to have a good day. But I think the Rams if they can run the football effectively, it's going to be a close one. Now, like I said, no Cooper Kupp, so I'm staying away from it. But I wish he was playing because I would have bet the Rams in this one. And for my last bet, I like this one a lot. $200 I'm putting on Broncos -4 against the Raiders. Now, I think a lot of people look at this one, they're like, okay, the Raiders and the Broncos both sucked last year. We have to remember, you had Nathaniel Hackett, you have Sean Payton now. This defense is still really good. Last time Jimmy Garoppolo played the Broncos, what did he do? Oh, yeah, he ran out of the back of the end zone for a safety and threw a pick six on the same play. And the 49ers offense scored 9 points. The Raiders are not going to be good. They have Josh McDaniels running the show. He's awful. Devontae Adams is there. Josh Jacobs is there. You do have a couple little pieces. The Broncos defense is a really good unit, and their offense just has to be competent. Well, it's a good week 1 matchup because they're going up against the Raiders. I don't think Chandler Jones is going to play. He's like on social media freaking out about stuff. Don't expect him to be out there. You basically have Max Crosby, if Tyree Wilson, like
a rookie, by the way.
A rookie, yeah. A rookie in his first, a raw pass rusher, and your secondary is awful. This is Sean Payton's going to carve you up, and the defense is going to take care of business, and Jimmy Garoppolo is going to look just as bad as he did last year when he played the Broncos. So I think they're going to run through him, dude. The Broncos are ascending, and the Raiders weren't even good last year, and they are falling apart. Like they're more of a team that's going to be competing for a top pick in the draft than they are a playoff spot. And it's crazy to say with some of the big names that they have, but look at the rest of it. Look at their coaching. Look at their coaching last year. Look at their insane quarterback downgrade. That people seem to think that, oh, Derek Carr wasn't that great. You're just going to Jimmy Garoppolo. Guys, Jimmy Garoppolo is a significantly worse quarterback than Derek Carr by every single standard. He's bad. And oh, yeah, he's a winner. No, the 49ers won despite of Jimmy Garoppolo. Not because of Jimmy Garoppolo, ever. So I think you're going to see an absolute disaster in Vegas this year, and I think Week 1's going to be the first week that we see that one. So hammer Broncos. That's my second kind of big hammer of the week, but I'm going to be putting 200 or 20% of my 1,000 on this one.
Matt, that Jimmy Garoppolo rant, that felt personal as a 49ers fan. That was really personal. I don't disagree with you. I think one thing you forgot to mention, I think there's positive development in the return from injury from Javonte Williams. He is, I think, a really good young running back, so I don't disagree with you. I would also like Broncos -4 as well. And we're just going to go through some of the games this week that we chose not to bet. Just give you a little brief 1 to 2 sentences on why we chose not to bet it. First, we got the Texans at the Ravens, -10 for the Ravens. It's pretty obvious. The line is a little too big for me to feel comfortable betting on any team to win by 10. It's just too big of a line, unfortunately. The Titans at the Saints, -3. These are two teams where I don't know how I feel about them. They have kind of a range of variance about how good they could be. I don't know what I think of either one of these teams. And so, especially in Week 1, I'm not going to touch any of these games.
And then we also have Bengals -2 against the Browns. Now, this one's interesting. Like, the Bengals could definitely take it, but we don't know what the Browns look like. It's an unknown. We haven't seen their new look offense. Hold off. Joe Burrow's still coming back. Hasn't really had a full offseason. It could be a Brown. It's just kind of up in the air. And then moving forward, Cardinals at Commanders. You're probably going to be good to bet against the Cardinals every week. You could in this one, but the Commanders aren't a good enough team to take a touchdown line. That's the problem. So don't bet that one. Like, just don't bet two horrible teams. It doesn't really work out that well. It's kind of a toss-up.
The next one we got right here is going to be the Dolphins at the Chargers. Dolphins last year and Chargers played, and it was kind of a shit show for the Dolphins. The Chargers are favored by 3. I just don't feel good enough to bet Week 1. I don't know what I feel about these teams yet. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to waste any money, unfortunately. And then, the two primetime games for this week that we're not going to touch. Sunday night, Cowboys favored by 3.5 at the Giants. Not going to touch it. Two playoff teams last year, I'm not going to feel comfortable doing that Week 1. And then on Monday night, we have Aaron Rodgers debut at the Jets. Bills are favored by 2.5. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers is going to be as a New York Jet yet. We haven't seen him in game action, so we are not going to touch that one just to be safe. We haven't seen how the new look Jets look yet.
Okay, so moving forward, in addition to our $1,000 that we get every single week, we each get a free $50 parlay. This week, I'm going kind of a conservative parlay, going the safe route. I'm going a 3-team parlay, all favorites. I bet all of these teams. These are the games that I am really heavy on. Jaguars, money line. Broncos, money line. Eagles, money line. $50 pays out $160. Now, I would be very surprised if any of these teams lost. I hate doing parlays where you have the line where it's, oh yeah, they have to win by 5, and then somehow they win by 3 points, but they have a comfortable win. So I typically only go money lines. I love this one though. I would be really shocked if any of these teams lost. It feels like kind of an automatic dub. Now, you always say that with a parlay and then something ridiculous happens, but I like it. It's not a crazy payout, but $160 for 3 teams that are far and away more talented and better. But taking away 110 from a $50 bet is a way better move if you're going safe route. Jaguars should definitely win. Broncos should definitely win. And the Eagles should definitely win. Hammer this one. I love it.
Yeah, and I like your parlay. I do. It's a little conservative, but I like it. And I'm going to go a little bit more balls to the walls here. And my parlay is going to include Commanders money line. I think they should beat a horrible, horrible Arizona Cardinals team. It was too rich to go -7, but I will take the money line. Chiefs money line over the Lions. Now I have the Lions covering, so that's a little ballsy, but I still think the Chiefs win. Plus, then if the Lions don't cover, then I'm safeguarded by having the Chiefs win. Geno Smith to have over 1.5 passing touchdowns against the Rams, with the Rams defense being as terrible as it is. I think that's a safe bet. And then I'm going to have for the Bears Khalil Herbert over 53.5 rushing yards for the Bears. The Bears were the number 1 rushing offense last year. They ran for over 3,000 yards. Khalil Herbert is now their number 1 running back. $50 for my free parlay is going to win me $314. I'm not going to go so far to say it's an auto bet, but I like a lot of these. For a 4-pick parlay to win 314, I think these are pretty good odds. I'm going to win $314 betting on this parlay. So this was the first episode of our betting show. Matt is going to be on there every single week with me. We're going to be keeping track of our scores. Like I said, if you guys look in the description, we're going to have the Google Sheets doc so you guys can see what bets we've been making, not including the parlays, obviously. But please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more videos just like this. And we'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.